Beirut. Trent Murray, Euronews.
The UK government has deployed an Air Force surveillance plane to monitor the English Channel for migrant boats. It follows a sharp increase in the number of migrants attempting to make the crossing from Calais to Dover. Favourable weather conditions over the last few days have meant people smugglers have stepped up their efforts to encourage migrants to make the journey in dinghies and other small watercraft. Talks are going to be held in Paris today between French and British officials to discuss the increase in migrant crossings. Well, let's go to Dover. Our reporter Victoria Smith is there for us this morning. Victoria, we have seen just over the last 7 days or so hundreds of migrant arrivals in those sort of dinghies and boats from Calais to Dover. Are more boats expected today? And how are authorities on your side of the channel preparing for that, if that is what happens?
Well, good morning, Rosie. Yes, I'm up on the White Cliffs of Dover. You can see the ferry port behind me. You can see that the day is fair and the seas are calm. So we could have a repeat of what we've seen over the last few days. In fact, since Thursday, we've had more than 500 migrants come onto the UK coastline, many here in Kent, and that is causing problems for local authorities. There have been 4,000 people arriving here over the last year, and now they're coming in small boats because there is this spell of warm weather with calm seas. It's changed a bit. Back in 2015, you remember, there was a bit of a crisis when migrants were stowing away on lorries, getting across through the Channel Tunnel. But the French authorities have tightened up security measures on that side of the channel. They built a wall by the motorway, for example. So migrants and specifically people smugglers have been looking for other routes. So these traffickers are sending people out on pretty unsafe rubber dinghies and pretty choppy and usually dangerous seas here behind me. And many of them are now getting through. And yes, the UK military has been ordered to keep an eye on things. We've had an RAF surveillance plane overflying the last few days. The Royal Navy is on standby as well, although it's not quite clear what role they will actually play in safeguarding the borders. And once the migrants arrive, Border Control is ready to process them, to send the adults to detention centres to disperse them across the UK. But one problem very specific to Dover is the unaccompanied minors that are coming in, the children aged under 18. Most of them are older teenagers, between sort of 15 and 17, but they have to be looked after by Kent County Council. Now, I spoke to the leader of the council, Roger Goff, and he says they're running out of space, they're running out of facilities, and they're running out of funding to look after these minors properly.
Undoubtedly is on our capacity, and that's in a couple of areas. One is reception centres. At the start of this year, we had one reception centre, which indeed we'd had for quite a long time. We now have 3 plus an annex, and they are filling up pretty rapidly. The second big pressure is on things like our social workers. Again, no council, even quite a large one, which Kent County Council is, can easily absorb 60, 70, 80 new children coming into its care month on month on month. And that is what really is making the impact.
Victoria, French and British authorities are meeting in Paris today to try and come up with solutions, or at least cooperate, because they clearly want to prevent people making extremely dangerous journeys. Are both parties working together, and what sort of solutions are they talking about?
Well, at the moment, Rosie, there is a thing called the Dublin regulation, which means that countries like the EU can send migrants back to other countries in the EU, such as France. But of course, that all comes to an end at the end of the year with Brexit, with Britain leaving the EU. So the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, is looking at other ways, other laws to get tougher on migrants coming here into Kent.